and silent. And
Live in
Three,
now.
2, 1. Live! Awesome! Hello everybody, we're here on Let's Talk About Ice show, live on Facebook, live from the Gold Coast. So I'm back home, thank goodness. Not thank goodness, it was a great trip, guys. We did a lot of things around Australia, but it's good to be home again and hopefully reuniting with the team here on the Gold Coast on Monday. So we're on the couch tonight, and before we go any further, I want you to share this video. I want you to share this on your Facebook page with your friends, because we're talking about a very serious issue. We're talking about ice on the couch tonight. You don't know whose life you're going to touch or who actually needs to hear this message tonight. And you know, there's a lot of people that don't talk about this problem, but they actually need some help. So by sharing this video, you may be able to help somebody that's in addiction or a family member that's struggling and not knowing what to do, and they'll be able to outreach to us through this show. So I urge you right now to share this post, this live video that we're doing, and it is an interactive show. So say hello if you're out there. Lots of love to the Melbourne team. Thank you so much for an amazing job. We just came back from Melbourne, guys, and there was the gala ball there, which was an incredible night of awareness, mainly, and we met some amazing people. Thank you to everybody who participated in that event. There were so many donations and so much giving of your heart, time, skills and effort to bring it together. So I'm really truly grateful for that opportunity and for creating a platform that we can share the truth about ice and hopefully educate more kids in Victoria about the dangers of that drug. So that was a really amazing night, had lots of fun, got to do a little bit of singing and stuff. And before that we came from Adelaide. There was the Adelaide Forum. It was an incredible event, over 200 people attended, and the Adelaide team did an incredible job putting that together. So that was a really informative night, and we were able to share a bit about what we do. And we intend on doing more in Adelaide. There's a few more forums in the planning, and also education within workplaces and schools are now starting to be rolled out within Adelaide communities. So if you're from Adelaide and you have a business, or you are part of a school and you're interested in having the education workshops delivered into your business, workplace health and safety, or into your school, please connect with us. You can do that on our website, www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au, and there's a button there that says workshops inquiry. So just click on that and send through an inquiry, and we'll be able to liaise with you from there. So that was the forum was amazing. It was really good to be able to help people, family members, but we also have people turn up at those forums that are entrapped in addiction, and we can buddy them up with some of our presenters and help them step out of that space, of that entrapment. So before that, we were up at in Cairns, and we did a week's worth of education in the schools in the Tablelands in Mareeba. And we connected with a lot of beautiful people there, and we now have a youth advisory group in Cairns, and the youth advisory group are on air and also have an Instagram page going. So if you're a youth out there and you want to help us put the freeze on ice in our nation, please connect with the youth advisory, the AARC youth advisory group in Cairns, and they would love you to come on board and help. So there's radio shows. We're going to be planning a youth engagement event out there with bands and music, and we're doing a walk against ice. So if that's you and you want to engage and help us do that, we'd love to hear from you. So now in Cairns, we're in the planning stages of 2 forums. So I've got my little notes here. On the 10th of next month, October, we have the Mareeba Forum. So we're almost finalised that, and flyers should be going out and emails should be going out into Mareeba shortly. And in Cairns on the 11th, so we will be holding a community forum on ice. And we will be talking about what we do in the community, and we have an amazing team up in Cairns that are ready to go and roll out the education. So even though we say turn your phones off before set, still doesn't happen. And guys, I'd like to introduce you on the show tonight. We have Tyrone Blythe. Ty, say hello.
Good evening, hello.
Thank
you for having me.
Thank you for being on the show, Ty. you know, I've known Ty for a little while, and he's got an incredible story. And apart from, you know, the current ICE story that he's got, he does some amazing work in the community, and he has for many, many years. And he's a good friend of mine, and I'm just honoured that he could be on the show today, because you really do such amazing work, you know. Like, blows me away all the time. You did what? and he goes and sits with people in the gutter, and he helps them in so many ways. So truly an inspiration. But today, sadly, you have an opportunity to come on the red couch and talk about ICE tonight, which we will get into. But before we do that,
okay.
I would like you to tell the audience a little bit about who you are and a bit about the work that you do, Ty.
Well, the work. Thank you, Andrea. It's lovely to be here. It's pretty ironic I'm here tonight. My work is basically involved in, I came from a boxing background. I wasn't a very good boxer, and that's the truth. But my son was a very good professional boxer, and my other son was good as well. So I was basically involved in a sporting role. And what happened with my sporting role, to cut a long story short, I went from working with amateurs and some professionals. I was very honoured to work with some top ones, and some other people. And as I went on my journey through boxing, I found myself, as you do with amateurs especially, working with kids even today from, I can go back as far as some kids were 11, they're now 37 today.
Wow.
But I've had some great comeback stories from them guys, and they still remember me, believe it or not. And I am just turning 59, by the way, that's another story. But I would like to put forward that what happened with me was I found myself, as you nurture the children or the kids, ages 7 to 70, some of these people, the amateur fraternity up to the age of 21, 32, I found myself not so much being a second dad, but working in a box. When I get in a boxing ring, it's like an office.
Yes.
It becomes second nature to me. And then I found myself, fortunate for me, working with people in wheelchairs, and I had empathy, not sympathy. And I've always had that sort of thing going with me. Whatever happened, and then you get the kids who come from the broken homes, and the usual things associated with boxers and amateur boxers, and the dads and the mums, and the kids find it a second home. And I became like a dad. I've got 3 beautiful grown-up ones. My oldest is 36, one's 30, and I've got 22 and 3 grandchildren, and I am a big softy dad. With dyed hair, thank you. no.
And all the other kids in the boxing ring that you've coached along the way.
I've had some great kids. I've been very fortunate. I'm not the greatest, like I said, boxer, but I'm a very, very lovely. I love training people. Yeah. I love people.
And it's more than that, Tyrone. I believe, you know, it's not just the actual sport. You know, you get in there. I've seen you at work. You know, you get in there and you start to, you know, work with a person and who they are and what they're going through, and through the boxing and the exercise. Magic happens. You know, what happens?
Thank you, darling. It is magic. It is, Andrea. It's magic. It's you can associate it with the likes of Freddie Roach out there in Hollywood, who trains Manny Pacquiao. I think I pronounced that right. And he is the same thing. You can emulate someone, you can copy them, you can use the pad work, you can do all the boxing scenario, whatever you want to do, what you want to call it. But you can't get into the trainer's head or the person's head. And what I did, and what Freddie does, and people like that, I found myself not just working with people in the high levels of boxing, the low levels of boxing, but as people. And so you become like a counsellor, but you don't really realise you're doing it. So it becomes like a second nature. And so, for instance, I've trained the police, and I've trained some Hells Angels. Excuse me, I've got nothing against Hells Angels, by the way, or police. And so then I ended up with some Down syndrome. And my ex-wife was very, very good with that. Probably we used to do like, for example, at the end of 6 weeks, these boys would come in. Maybe they'd be like 15 years old, very big and strong, but with an age of 9 or 10 inside. And we train them, and they get such a great, their gratitude and their growth. And I found myself, a lot of guys have said to me, boxing trainers, I won't name them, they can't do that. Not because they're upset or they're frightened, but they can't, you know, relate like that. And I would get under my, as I always say, I'll get under my ropes, whether they come in the wheelchair, whether they're blind. I've got plenty of blind people, you know, and it's not, you know, for me being all, not soppy, it's empathy. And I found I had a gift. Yes. I have a gift, and I love it. I love using it, you know what I'm saying? And I need one with a head like mine, but there you go. And I found myself working with, sorry to go on so much, it came. You know, it wasn't difficult. It's not difficult. And when I've got somebody coming to me with cuts all over them, especially women, hood up, covered. And for example, went to Blacktown. Hello Rodney down there, Rodney Williams, great man working with the police. I actually worked with a couple of girls down there and they hated me for the first round, and by the fourth round we were dancing. So it's not a bad thing, but what I'm saying is it's not, the boxing, it brings the hate out, it strips the layers back. It's a cliche, but it does.
But you're very relatable to it, Tyrone, and I think you have your own journey as well. And the thing that I love most about you is that, you know, people are people. Whether you have a disability, whether you're going through cancer, whether you're in addiction, and I've watched you work with people, you know, bringing a young kid to come and meet me because he was entrapped in ice addiction. You know, we're all the same, and we all, you know, have a story, and we all hurt the same way, you know, and that's the most beautiful thing. And on that level of relatability, you're able to, because of your story and your journey, you're able to connect and work with people, you know, at that level. So, you know, I know that personally. I know that you've worked with people in addiction. I know that you've worked with people who had cancer and they recovered. You know, it's just an incredible amount of love that you share while you're in
I've been very lucky,
journey with these people. You know, you're outpouring that love. It's incredible.
Well, yeah, like it's excuse me, it's I want to keep my feet on the floor, so to speak. But I've worked with a lovely, beautiful lady called Doris Zanansky, who actually writes books on grief. And she actually ended up getting cancer, and I trained her for 18 months. And she would not, this woman is not a boxer, believe it. And I called her MBW, the Main Beach Warrior. So she, in turn, came to me, was a beautiful, sweet lady who had a vasectomy, and we trained for 18 months. It was awesome, absolutely awesome. And on the other side of the spectrum, we've got the young man you met called Dylan. And Dylan won't mind me mentioning him, I won't mention his surname. Become one of 16 children, a self-cutter, I won't go into suicide and stuff like that, but I actually found myself, he launched me in a way because he was a beautiful young man. And with the, nothing against academics, but with the likes of myself, I'm not academic, but I have a gift. He related to me. And these kids, you're transparent. You are transparent to these children and these boxing kids and whatever. They see right through you, Andre, as you know.
Absolutely.
And
it's about lived experience,
like
Tyrone. It's about lived experience, you know, where you've walked, people, you know,
in my heart,
when you've had lived experience, you can't lie. You know, you can't lie. And that's what we say at AIC, lived experience makes all the difference. Whether you are a family that has a loved one entrapped in addiction, we want to help. We've got our educators, you know, they've walked through that, they've come out of that entrapment, and we have a heart to actually help somebody else do that. But also when we're sharing about the education, it's not, you know, let's talk about psychosis. Now let me tell you about psychosis. Let me tell you about that entrapment and that hell. So it's a whole different kettle of fish, and that's why, you know, your journey has brought you to a place to be able to relate so many different things that you've gone through in your life and be able to connect at that level with people wherever they are at. Hey, very
much so. I'm not ashamed in any way, shape or form to talk about close to suicide. I've actually been talking with Ricky Hatton. Actually, I do use the boxing as my examples because that's who I work with outside this stuff, but also myself. Not an ounce of shame. I'm an alcoholic, and I've been sober since last night. Happy hour now for the last 6.5 years, and that's a fact, and that's the clarity's in my eyes, but more so in my soul. And I have a story. I do have a story to tell, and you know, every day this is not soft. Every day becomes. I realise that I've, if you like, been put here to help others, to move forward, especially to meeting yourself, and without any embarrassment. I was a little bit cynical, and I didn't understand the ice thing, and now it's started to happen to certain people in my family, and it's taking grips with everybody. But also, I stayed primarily on the alcohol thing and worked with people in alcohol, and also the other side of it with the boxing. But I've diverted away. I've got an older son. I'm not going to mention names. My boy is 36. He's a beautiful, beautiful boy. I've got 3 beautiful grandkids. Now, my son cut his throat. Let me say this is not for the sake of the camera. He's cut his throat many years ago, and then came through, has been through rehab, has been through prison, has been through everywhere. He's a beautiful, beautiful beautiful kid. He gets that from his mum, don't get it from me. He's a beautiful, kind kid, but he's been on drugs since he was 14. So I have experienced it.
Yeah.
I have, and then if you want me to elaborate a little bit
Yeah,
about the other boy,
please.
the other chap, I won't go too much because he will get quite angry with me. Recently, I now have a child. I call him a child. I recently saw him recently, and I looked at the camera, and I loved him and held his hand, and he was asleep, and he had cracked lips. And me, as a man, 50, 59 now, I'm quite a hard man. I'm certainly not a tough man. I cried my eyes out. This thing it's just such a demon, for want of a better word. My son had to cut a boy down, a lovely young kid who hung himself in the room next door. I experienced things, it was a bit like train spotting on steroids, if you know what I'm saying. I just, it was surreal, and I can still think to this day that I'm going to wake up. So what's happened tonight, I'm very, very fortunate. I mean this tonight, because this woman has inspired me so much truth, and so much is going on. I'm overwhelmed to come here, and as I've been put here, I'm not going to get religious, I'm going to talk about God. I got put here today, as I always get put places, to talk about me. And I said, what has happened to Tide Life? Personal training, what's that rubbish? And I'm now living proof of how we, how we get better. And I can see it, and I can feel it, and I'm genuine. That's the thing, I'm genuine. But we need to move forward and help. And now I'm experiencing it from my own family.
And that's a really sad place, to be. Like I said, I've known you, and kids touch drugs, people get involved in, in different things, and they come out. The problem with ICE is that it is an entrapment, and, I was chatting with Ty while he was there, and it's heartbreaking because you can't help them because their frontal lobe is hijacked. They're entrapped in a hell that has got them there, and, there is a window of opportunity in the cycle of addiction where contemplation takes place, but you actually have to allow that child of yours or the person that you love get to the end of themselves to be able to get to that place, and watching that that take place and that journey is horrific, for a parent. I mean, I was on the other side, so I remember being entrapped, and the world didn't exist at that time. So I'm able to, I guess, talk to you, Ty, in the form of what was going on for me, and what the outside world meant to me or didn't mean to me, and how best you can probably get in to have a chat with him at the right time. So just gauging on what's going on around, and that's the difference. Our lived experience presenters and families as well are trained. They've had lived experience. They've helped their child, their loved one, through addiction, and they're here to help you. So they have some tools, they have some training to be able to help you with boundaries, to be able to help say, okay, well, that's not okay, and that's not a parent's love, even though your heart feels like it is. But you have to allow the child to, even through the pain, as painful as it is, to come to the end of themselves and feel the consequences associated. If you want to live that lifestyle, this is what it's going to feel like. Yes, you are going to sleep out in the cold because you didn't pay your rent. Yes, you are going to go hungry because you used your money to hit up. And as a parent, I'm a parent, I can't imagine anything worse than watching, your child self-destruct, and be in that place, And especially as a dad, we get a few dads, call up and, they say, my son's on ice, I don't know what to do. And we've got dads there, I think you've connected with one of the dads there that, has been through it, and they can, be on your side in the ring, and, no, don't say that, don't do that, but send them love, stay connected, encourage them to, we love you, don't love what you're doing, So, go on.
Yeah, up until a few weeks ago, yourself, I rang you, and I was very fortunate, and I mean very fortunate, prior to going to WA, I spoke to Andrea, because it's a new concept to me. I don't know much about the ice, and I didn't, like I said prior, I didn't really take it 100% serious. I took it serious, but not with, things have come on board to me now, things are becoming apparent and whatever. I was always involved with the alcohol. I never took drugs. I was lucky in that way, but I took a drug that was a drink, and that nearly killed me. Coming back to what we were talking about, with the ice, I attribute to something similar to watching a child. They become a child again as well. No matter how old they become a child, and they are slowly committing suicide in front of you. That's not by any means exaggerated. I've never ever, and this is to all the mums and dads out there, the families, and this is the same as AA and alcoholics and people. The family suffer so much, and we're going to talk about that later on a good positive note, aren't we? What we're going to try and do. And speaking with Andrea, and coming into this wonderful place when I do for information and help, and a bit of laughter and some very, very lovely cooking. I know, but
I don't cook. That's not true.
Last time I was in hospital 3 days, but we'll leave that go tonight. No, but without the humour, I on a positive note, she's absolutely on the plane. When I got over there, this woman rang me in the UK on a beach, and there is a beach in the UK that was quite warm, and I rang her, and she actually saved my life. But so, like I say, there's no embarrassment. I speak as I do. This is all new to me, and it's like it's come from nowhere. And as I say, I keep thinking I'm going to wake up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I am. He knows, and the other boy knows that I love him so. I love him. I'm the biggest softie ever.
Yeah.
I am the biggest softie. I'm the box of the candle. The one blow and I was out. That was me, But inside, I'm very, very strong. My mind is strong, and my journey back, as you know very well, from 6 years ago, 5 years when I met you, is immense. And it's brought me to a place today where I'm so proud, I mean that, to be involved in this, and it's just going to gather momentum and go forward and the fight. There's a real fight happening now where we'll destroy these demons, because it's been said before, it's not just families, my God. To see your child who looks like a baby sleeping with cracked lips and things, it sounds all bad. You don't want to have it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
It's horrific, and it is like a demon, because that person's taken over. They say things they don't mean. They're angry, the violence, the detachment from feelings and family and from humanity is. And I can speak for myself. I remember being in that place, and it must be heartbreaking for you to be going through that. And we're honoured to have you. Help us fight in this fight, Tyrone, because it's not an easy fight, and you don't understand until you've actually been there. Unfortunate. So, we're speaking to families out there. You want to educate your child on the dangers of ice from lived experience before it's too late. Yeah, you want somebody that's been there to get in front of your kid and tell them about that journey, because when they know and they see how horrific it is, they won't touch it. That is our point. We're rolling out education up in Cairns, Melbourne, Adelaide, Sydney soon, and on the Gold Coast, in Brisbane. We are out there and we're doing all we can, but we need your support. We need you to lobby to your school and say, we want this. We want our kids educated, because how early do you teach them not to cross the road because the cars will run them over? It's going to get offered to your child. It's out there, and it's unfortunate that I don't believe people are taking priority and listening to this message. Not even once is our message out there to the youth, and they do get our message. They do understand it. It's a different kettle of fish coming from a teacher or somebody standing up in front of the room saying, don't do drugs. We don't say that. We don't say, the choice is always theirs, but we show them, if you do this drug, this is what's going to happen, and hope that we don't have this situation, because once they're entrapped in that, the likelihood that they're going to come out is very small. Okay, we work with the families, and we do get results, but you got to work with us. We can see things as it is. This is the situation, right? You got to let them be homeless. You got to let them get to that place, and it's one-on-one. It is hard, of course it is. I mean, we have a clinical arm of counsellors who are trained counsellors, psychologists, and that they are on board through Optimal Health Group within AAIC to put frameworks and boundaries and courses and tools, give tools to people that are helping their loved ones. And it is hard. It is hard, but Tyrone, I'll never forget. I had a mum that I was helping. And she was on the phone with me at 11:30 one night, and she says to me, my son, he's come in, and I've got 2 other kids, and my son came in off his head, and he bashed the other child so badly that he ended up in hospital. And she says, I don't know how to stop this anymore. He's going to kill him. I said, okay, this is what you're going to do. And you need to listen to me because I've been your son. So I know what's going on. I know that the depletion of the serotonin and the anger and the violence and the lack of ability to think about consequence, yeah? So I said, you're going to tell your son he's not welcome in the house until he decides to change his life because the other ones are at risk. Correct? Correct. 11:30 at night she rings me. Oh, it's hurting me. My son's out there, it's cold, and he's sleeping on the balcony. I said, good. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's how it has to be. He's chosen. If he wants that lifestyle and he wants to be on substance and be a harm and you know, put the other children at risk, you want to live that lifestyle, that's your choice. But we don't have to do it. I love you, but I don't love your action. Yeah? So 11:30 at night, and this lady's crying to her, and she's crying on the phone, and I said, listen, let him out there, and then tomorrow in the morning you're going to say to him, are you ready to change your life yet? Exactly. You know, did you like that? If you want to continue that lifestyle, you're still not welcome in here. I'm not going to put the other kids at risk, but if you're ready, let's have a conversation. He said, yeah, I don't want to sleep outside again, I'll do whatever. So she pulled in one of our presenters, one of our guys, and they were able to sit down and make a plan with them, and that kid went into rehab as a consequence, you know. It was hard for that mum to sit there and watch that kid, 14 years old, sleeping outside. He was banging on the walls, he was screaming, he was carrying on, and she's in tears inside, you know, because it hurts. But, you know, if she didn't do that, that child wouldn't have gone into rehab, you know. So sometimes you've got to...
Be cool to be kind.
Yeah, I guess, you know, in certain ways, you know, you can't let go, and you've got to let them know that you love them and that you're there and you want to help. But you need to have the tools to help, yeah? So you need to have the rehab, connect with the rehab, know where your detox is, know who the people are that are going to be able to help. And you've done all the right things, Ty. I've watched, you know, and been able to work with you. You know, you've connected with a buddy down there. You've connected with the rehab with George from the...
Yeah, I've just, excuse me, I've just recently come back and I put a massive rap for the gentleman, Dr. George O'Neill, who's friends of...
Yep, he's amazing.
My friends at Bravehearts. And this gentleman, I met him, he's phenomenal what he's doing. He is an absolute gentleman. He's a bit of a character. He's about, I won't say his age, but he's past retirement, but he keeps going. Yeah. And he has rehabs everywhere. And I actually went into the rehab place, and I went into on a Wednesday over there in WA. He does like implants, and he does. You know, you see the people lying down, and it's just an amazing situation. And also, when you go in there, you just feel it. He's got a lot of love, but he's also got, like you just said, he's strict, and he can do it. And he's got some stuff. He's one of the men that's really outstanding in this fight against ice, heroin, you know, all this stuff, like, you know, drink, and he's saving lives. And they're coming from all over Australia and probably further afield from now. I love the man. The man was fantastic.
He's wonderful, and it is a good place to connect with, you know.
Absolutely.
I spoke to George a few years back, actually, when AIC was first birthed, and I said to him, you need to open one here in Queensland, you know, you got one on that side of Australia, what about this side, you know? And he does do some amazing work, so you're in a good place. But you've gone out there and you've connected.
I went there, he invited me in there, I stayed in, I mixed with them. I'm an ex, drinker. And I actually got to mix with the staff, and then I went to the other place and mixed with the patients. Yeah. And he's good, and that's what he uses. That's quite significant for these guys watching in. I think it's really good. This comes into like the RPL with us, Registered Prior Learning. For example, when I work with Dylan, this is like, again, not big noting myself, they give Dylan two, I won't say the fitness place it was at, two fantastic personal trainers, about 60 years younger than me, believe you me, and they were strong and they were muscly and they were everything. But Dylan, he couldn't relate to them, he couldn't stand them, and nothing against them guys. No. So when you get guys like myself who have been down a certain road, not the biggest rubbish road, but you've got your RPL, your Registered Prior Learning, and this is what the government's recognised now, hopefully going further. You do need sometimes, you don't have to be an alcoholic or a drug addict or been shot or killed or stabbed or whatever, but you do need to have been on some sort of road, which is where you and I have been, to understand, and also for them, especially the 16, 15, 14 margin, to even talk to you, to even give you a chance, because you're transparent, and that's where these, God bless them, these guys. He walked out the gym and said, "I want Ty back," and I was lucky.
Yeah.
So and from that we did one of the best, you know.
He was
Dylan's very clever as well.
He was
Streetwise,
blessed.
he was a very astute young man.
Yeah.
He was no idiot. He was a beautiful kid.
Yeah.
And he made me happy all the time.
And he's not the only one that you work with, Ty. I mean, I know that you've worked with many people in early stages of recovery.
Yeah.
And you know, we're blessed to be able to have you there to help, you know, people that look at fit, you know, consider fit, you know, getting into sport and fitness, which that helps the endorphins. Is that right?
Yeah, the endorphins come out in there. Yeah. I mean, the boxing. Thanks. The boxing's so funny. Makes me laugh. The boxing is just a small part of it. What I want to try and do, I've been trying to do like a House of Hope concept where I get people like a drop-in centre.
Yep.
When you come in, there's a boxing ring there. There's the pads. When you start working with someone, if I can explain it in these terms, if you start working with someone and you get under the ropes, it's like an office.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you want a cup of coffee or whatever you want to do, when you start taking them through, I put them. I'll tell you what I do. I put them on the pads or chat with them, make them laugh, if you've got to laugh, and then you actually open up a scenario where you can talk to them.
Yeah.
They become like, you know, a lot of people don't sit down like with a psychologist and ask them. They don't. But if you sort of, I'll give you an example. When I talked to Dylan, well, I'd take him on the pads. He'd hit the pads. He was absolutely. That boy loved it. He'd ring me up at 3 o'clock. Dad, I want to be in the UFC. I said, you're more likely to be in the KFC. I'm in the UFC where things are going, son. But he I love you, Ty. I'm going to do it. But I loved him.
Yeah.
And what happened from there, I would get there and I'd finish training right out in Logan somewhere. And I'd use this as a tool. And I'd say, do you fancy a Red Bull, mate? Because he'd have a Red Bull. I know it's bad for you, but he was taking things that were very bad for you. So we walked down. By the time we got to get his Red Bull and his sweets,
yeah.
he'd come back and he told me half his life story again. And we talked. And he trusted me. He didn't have to look me in the eye. We just walked along. I could rob that car, Ty, and I could do this, Ty, and I'd drink his Red Bull. And by the time we got back, he didn't want me to go. We had like such a good rapport. And that's what you've got to do. You just can't go in and sit there. I've come from, you know, I'm an academic. I've got a fantastic education. Books are fantastic, and they have their place.
Yes.
But the likes of us.
Not on the street.
No.
Ty, I can so relate with that. I remember when I first landed, and I was told, oh, you need to go to an AOD counsellor, and I'm like, yeah, all right, I just wanted to get better, and I was so scattered and fried, and I went to this AOD counsellor, and this poor lady, if you're out there watching, I can't remember her name.
We're going to get another phone call tonight.
I was sitting there, and she's opposite me, and she says, oh, Andrea, you shouldn't think like that, because, and she started to, and the words just went into a muffle, right? You shouldn't think like that. And I went, wait a minute. I said, can I ask you something? I said, have you ever been where I've been? Like, have you ever been on this drug? Do you know what is actually happening in my brain? She said, well, no, but I've studied it. And I stood up at that moment, Ty, and I said, you know what? I actually swore. Not very nice words came out. How would you know what I'm going through? And I walked out, and Tyrone, if it wasn't for the amount of support and people in my life and that I was blessed with, at that moment I probably would have relapsed, because I felt like nobody understood what I was going through. It was so messy that how could anybody help me, because they weren't inside me. But see, if I had met somebody that had been and could come in down there at that point where I was, which is where you connect with people, because you through your heart you connect, where they're going through, and that makes all the difference.
It's not about being better or whatever, and it definitely doesn't come into like. And as you see with the ICE, there's all walks of life, from police to fire brigade, or just a guy who's selling insurance. It's cracking everyone, and excuse the pun. But it's getting back to the sport and anything, in any way you want to excel with these kids, sport, and they don't have to come in a punch, they don't have to come in box, they definitely don't spar.
Yeah, no.
I don't put a gum shield in, but they might want to hit the bag and say, hey, go and tie, and I have, I'm an evangelist to a degree. I've got to put a note for brave hearts here who have been beautiful to me. There's a lot of people out there. There's I won't say there's I've got 2 ex-wives, but they've been fantastic. I've just come off of a marriage. I'll tell them now, it's 33 years, and that mother is phenomenal. She is suffering so much. I've never seen a very, very strong lady. I won't say she is. very, very wonderful woman, has done what she's done. I'm not going to elaborate because it's not fair. She's not here, and she is suffering, and unfortunately, sometimes it puts us in coverts and each other's throats to a degree, because you're seeing someone. Like, you come together, you try and merge, but it's not always that easy if you're not together as the mum and dad. But you know, 3 decades together, and this beautiful son of mine, both of them, it's horrendous. It's horrendous, but it's given me. It's given me, but what it's done, even tonight, and it's nice to see everyone out there. I don't know what's going on with the cameras, but I absolutely, I adore the way that I feel, and this road I'm going on, and I will walk it. Yeah. I'll walk the walk. You know, I will do it, and I will continue. And I'm very, very thankful to you for how wonderful you've been, because you always are so elegant, so kind, and what you did for me in Perth was put me in a place where I was. It was quality, because every night I came home, it was like you're so tired. Yeah. It's not like you've been digging holes all day, you know. Like I was involved in the scaffolding and stuff, but I was like exhausted in such a mental capacity. And then I'd ring you or I'd talk to you, and I'd remember your words. And everyone else out there, there's been people in my life I'm not going to mention, and they know who they are. They're fantastic.
Yeah. And you do.
And I couldn't do it without them.
You need a support network, and that's what we're talking about. You know, having that support network of people who've walked that walk, who've been there, and really getting all the tools that you need to help your loved one, because life can be hard, but we're together in unity, we can overcome, and we can support each other and lean on each other. You know, I mean, it's almost like a song. When you're not so but on a serious
note, the album comes out in July. But
thank you so much for being on the couch and sharing. I know that you know, you're actually going through the motions at the moment, and there's a lot of families out there going through the motions at the moment. And I want to reach out to you if you're a family that you know, you're going through that. You have a loved one entrapped in addiction, and you need some help. Our family support number is 0481 844 555. Or you can contact us at head office 0756656063, and we'll connect you to your state office. So we have offices in Victoria, in Sydney, on the Gold Coast, Adelaide, Cairns, and we do have a couple of people down on the ground in WA. So if you are that person and you're needing some support, please get in touch with us, because that's our heart. That's what we want to do. You know, most of us are volunteers, almost the whole team are volunteers, and we are unfunded. So if you want to help us protect one youth on the dangers of ice, $10 a month can help us do that. You know, that helps us protect one youth. If you want to protect two, $20 a month, and so forth. So how many kids do you want to protect against the dangers of ice? You know, people don't have to go down there. Like your son, I didn't know. You know, everybody knows drugs aren't good for you. You know, but people do drugs. But I didn't know that first pipe was going to take me to a hell that I couldn't get out of, and I almost died for, you know, over. And your son experienced a young man, you know, hanging himself on this substance, you know, and that's something that you can't. How do you erase that, you know, from your head? And I can just imagine what your son's thinking.
When you're not rational, when you're not thinking straight, it mounts up. Obviously, you know, but there is hope out there. And also, if you excuse me interrupting you,
no, please.
If you want to contact anyone for anything with me, come and talk to anybody or to work with anybody.
How can they contact you?
I'm available. My number's 0410 503 609. I'm on the coast. I do travel a bit, but I'm here, and I'd like to put a wrap up for a fight for youth. That's another thing we're doing, and so the whole basis of this is like we're going everywhere. There's young babies, and we're covering everybody, and the sporting part comes into it, because it sort of it brings people in. I'd like you to look at maybe I'm going to say not Christians in sport. I've forgotten what I was going to say now. Excuse me, guys. But anyway, getting back to the issues at hand, the sporting start brings people in.
Yeah.
So whether you put God up there or you put drugs in it, whatever, they won't come in. If you put something there presented for the kids, or someone come and talk, it's a night. Like I said about my mate Dylan, the boxing was fantastic, and that took me miles. Yeah. It took me miles with him, and he loved it. and it broke down barriers, and he trusted, and he had a conversation with this young kid who'd been in care since the age of 2. His dad was a heroin, and he's great. He can stand
He's a
up and
great
talk.
guy.
Great,
Yeah,
loves
I
it.
really loved him too. You know, and these are vehicles, guys. Whether it's sport, whether it's music. You know, we're also with ARC developing a platform of workshops that people can engage in music, creating music, and then recording. Again, we're lacking funding for that. But you know, if you have music, I learnt the other day, music, you know, performing and you know, singing and being on stage and so forth, simulates the chemicals in the brain. It simulates it simulates what methamphetamine does. And so I was like, wow, we're on the right track then, hey? Because I remember I got that, you know, with my buddy Mark, who said, no, you're going to sing. I didn't want to sing. I didn't feel anything. But I did. And then, you know, was able to produce an EP now that we raise funds for this cause. So if you like music, there's an EP on our website that you can purchase, $15, and that all the proceeds go towards helping us educate youth on the dangers of ice. But more importantly, that was my journey, yeah? So we're getting people who want to produce music, or, you know, rap and poetry and about their journey, and they're able to share what that was like for them, and we can, you know, produce something that they're proud of and that they've been able to achieve, and it gives them a platform to be able to do more. And so whether it's sport or through music, you know, we're looking at avenues and collating with other organisations like the Youth Fight for Youth.
Fight for Youth down there in Currumbin.
Looking forward to connecting with them.
A young lady called Leslie, I met her yesterday.
Awesome.
And getting back to that thing, there's a lot of Christians in sport and things like that. I won't bring religion into anything, but there's a lot. It's called Tough Talk. So that's TOUGH Talk, and that's very much an East London place over in London there. And the guys have been going for near on, I think, 17 years now.
Wow. And
they bring the youngsters in because they don't want to walk in the church or get to be saved or get off the drugs. So if you put something there, you invent something, like I said, the boxing ring, the kids, then you scrape the layers away. You scrape the layers away, and you get their trust, you gain their stuff day after day after day after day. They come for that. Then eventually you might say, "I tell you what, mate, do you fancy this or do you fancy that?" And then they open up, and it becomes a drop-in centre that's really. They do the homework there. They do this there. They do that there, and they become ATI. You got to trust. You just know. Support. And I'm thinking now maybe I could do a bit of boxing. You singing in the background. So you've got Dublin Dolphins. It'd be better. You can just see it now. You know.
But the House of Hope is something that you've been thinking and talking about
that
for
as
a while.
You're looking for an old building of some description.
Yeah,
doesn't have to be great. Yeah.
You know, and in Victoria, we're actually looking for a factory. If you're out there in Victoria and you want to help and you might have access to a factory, we're looking for a factory where we can have a drop-in centre, but also have our offices and have a coffee shop and a bit of a second-hand shop or an op shop happening there as well, which we're looking at branding and duplicating. So if you're somebody that wants to help in that arena, you might have a factory that's sitting there and you're thinking, hey, I've got the capacity to help for 6 to 12 months, and then we can talk about rent once we start to create some revenue. If you're that person, get in touch with us in our Victorian office, because we are looking at making ARC self-sustaining so that we can keep doing what we're doing and doing projects like the House of Hope, where we can put places together and you know, the youth can come in there and hang out and, you know, and connect and do some music or some boxing or you know,
homework,
whatever.
Have a chat, you know, and it's all relevant.
It's so good. And I think I really believe that this is you know, God has touched you and brought you here, Ty. You know, religion aside, I'm talking about you know, the supernatural love, you know, and for the people and humanity, and I believe that, you know, God's uniting His people for a time like this. And again, I'm not talking religion. I'm talking about the love of God inside, to bring people together and help each other, because we do need help. Yeah, the world's getting darker out there, and it's in the unity of love that we can actually achieve more.
Love conquers all.
It does.
It does. And I look into the camera, and I'd like to thank you all for listening to me and even looking at me, and this wonderful person beside me, and the people around me outside these cameras, and all my friends. I really, sincerely, as a father, I've sobbed this week a few weeks ago. I've sobbed my heart out, cried my heart out. But I'm a strong man, and believe me, there is a God, and this is not religion. There is something, and I experienced it. I've experienced it lately, and thank you very much for your time.
We're honoured to be, walking with you, Ty, in this life.
Thank you.
So there's a couple of special things coming up. I'm going to give a little plug, but we're not going to release it yet. We're going to be looking at maybe doing a fight night, something like that, in hope to raise awareness about the dangers of ice, but and to give honour to those parents that fight for their kids, through addiction. It is a massive fight. It's probably the biggest fight you're going to have in your life. But it is possible. I'm proof of it. There are many out there proof of it, and we're here to help. So we want to be able to, the moment your child or loved one says, yes, I'm ready for change, please, we want to help. We want to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and put a plan in place with them, and be their buddy, and help them through the early stages of recovery, and get them in the ring, and they'll want recovery once they see trying to box in. You better recover. No, I'm kidding, but
I'm making my 5th comeback.
No, it's awesome. But connect them with people in our group that can help love them back to life, and that's what it's about. I remember that's how I speak about it, Ty. I was loved back to life. My goodness.
You were, weren't you?
I didn't think I was going to make it, but it is through the love.
Wow, what a journey you've had.
We all have. And it isn't right now. Ty's son is entrapped in addiction, but we are going to get him out. And I speak that. Yep, we're going to get him out of that place, and it's about uniting. And so if you're out there and you need help, please don't forget to contact us. We're going to wrap up the show tonight, and we look forward to seeing Cairns again on the 10th and 11th of October, and I think I'm going to Central Queensland again, so I'm not sure, but I think there's Central Queensland coming up in a couple of weeks, and we're going to be doing some work there in the schools that we've already been in Barcaldine, I believe. So Nat and Tanya, if you're watching, love you guys, and look forward to, and Kero, look forward to working with you guys again. And George's going to be doing dual diagnosis training out there. So if you want some training on how you can help your community, that was awesome, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
You did that training. Yeah, it's incredible training.
Top marks. Go to
Top
it.
marks.
Go for it. Top marks.
He's amazing. As long as you hug, he loves hugs. Give him lots of hugs, and he'll give you
biscuits. in that order.
in that order, So he will be out there in Barcaldine. He'll be doing dual diagnosis training. So if you're out there and you want to get some tools underneath your belt to be able to help the community, dual diagnosis training is like nothing I've ever done before. My daughter's a psychologist and a counsellor, and she said, Mum, when I did that training, it brought everything together. It was like a holistic approach in relation to recovery from addiction. So it's quite amazing training, and I encourage you to get out there and register on dual diagnosis training. Optimal Health runs that, so you can do that on our site. You can send us an email or an inquiry or a message on Facebook or on our website www.australianantiicecampaign.org.au. Tyrone, right down the barrel, one word to describe ice, what would it be? One word.
Horrific.
It is horrific. And I know that we're going to be working together, and we're going to be standing against this demonic and horrific drug called ice. So hopefully you can join us in the fight against ice. Join the AIC Army today on our webpage, and we look forward to speaking to you next Thursday night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
It's my pleasure.
Bless
my
you.
pleasure so much. Thank you.